Okay. Oh, disco line. Yeah, let's try and get some energy up. Welcome to the retail track. I see green stickers, which is good. Now that we are on a retail specific track, would anyone want to share now some thoughts about how to improve collaboration with suppliers? Now is an open forum. We're not going to tell anyone. Now's a chance to.
I'm going to sit next door and tell them.
I'm sure they're going to ask the same question. Anyone who wants to share? Comments? Questions?
It's difficult it's a difficult question that you ask because as Sonny knows, it's a very, how do I say this? It's still seller buyer, and you know, at Macro in particular, there's actually CP Group, there's two types of models. There's the bulk model, which is Macro, we buy in bulk, and that requires a different mindset when you buy from a supplier. You may be forward buying, you may be buying for other income. And then there's the more flow-through ordering that you use at Lotus, which is just buy and sell. So the collaboration that you're talking about, it varies by the type of retailer. Some retailers want to be buyer-seller. Some retailers have to be more collaborative. It plays to the negotiation. So that's my comment, is it depends on the retailer. If it's a fashion retailer, it's a flow-through, it's an easy one. When it comes to grocery, it's a very different model that you have to play.
But you still see areas of improvement there?
Yeah, I think the big area of improvement is transparency across the network. Simple things like an ASN from a supplier would be the world of difference. Yui is the supply chain manager. We struggle with suppliers to give us an ASN for how many years? 10 years. 10 years we struggle to get an ASN out of supply. And these aren't small suppliers, it's like PepsiCo, it's like Lay's, PepsiCo and Lay's the same. But these are the big suppliers, they still can't give us an ASN, meaning they can't tell us where they're shipping out and what they're shipping to us. And a lot of the constraints we have are about supplier under-delivery performance. And sometimes they're also playing a game with us where their supply chain is spread amongst us, Big C, and other companies, Central. So they're not always delivering the same thing. So your question's quite good, but it's also a cat and mouse game between the two. Yeah. Does that explain it to you?
Yeah, no, it does. I just wanted to get some conversation going and maybe ask if anyone agrees with that. Different comments?
I don't know if it's agree or disagree. I live my whole life with a give and a get concept. So if you're going to give something, you better get something. So if your expectation is an ASN, then they're going to want something in return. You know, maybe it's more access to the category managers or whatever. It can be very simple, but vice versa, right? One thing I find is are retailers more willing to provide demand forecast planning information earlier in the cycle so that the manufacturers can do their demand forecast and their manufacturing planning better. Then if you're going to give that information to them, you better be a priority customer when that product comes out. You better be the one. And I always see this conflict, and it's very funny, we were talking out there. I always see the conflict. The retailer is here. On one side, there's the manufacturers and suppliers conflict, and on the other side is the malls conflict, right? And sometimes in Asia it's the same company, but it's still a different division. And I just, like I said, there has to be a give and a get. If a retailer is going to give information or the supplier expects information, there has to be something in return. And that's where 40 years now I've been in the business. I never really see that. I don't see that collaborative. Everybody talks about collaboration and transparency. I've never really seen it happen because everybody wants to hold on to their piece. Oh, this is mine. I'm not going to give this up.
So it's kind of like you share first before I share mine, and then no one ends up sharing.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
I'd be curious to hear as we go on throughout the day about this, and especially as Rolex goes into kind of both sides. It'd be very interesting how that can come together.
Yeah, and we're also talking that it's not just kind of a bit of a conflict with the suppliers. There's still, in the traditional way of working, there might be conflicts within the company, between merchandising, between operations, between space plans. So there's multiple different conflicts that we're trying to resolve. But I guess the common theme is transparency. So let's start with that. Okay, then to the actual track, but please, this is now a smaller group, so if anyone has any comments, questions, anything, please feel free to share. We're here to discuss and share, so that's the point of today. Okay, it says welcome back from the break, so welcome back. Next, I would like to welcome Kunsani from Macro, sharing about their journey. Thank you very much.
Sunny.
Thank you. Actually, I feel like I'm the wrong person on the stage. That table is more experienced than I am. A lot of stuff I'm going to talk. A lot of stuff I'm going to talk. I mean, I learned from Paul itself, right? So, can ask him for advice. It's better than my second-hand conversation. Okay. So once again, I'm Sunny Somchok from CP Extra. Macro is one of the companies or brand under CP Extra. I'll explain a bit more of how we are currently structured. A little bit about myself, right? So I work at, so now Macro internally we are called wholesale business. We're not called Macro inside. Before joining Macro, I was a consultant at McKinsey, working with CIO. Of course, Paul is one of them. Working with him is not easy. And before that, started as a software engineer, mostly worked in fintech and banking, and it was until when I was in McKinsey that I started serving retail clients. Next, CP Extra. So the brand itself started around 2023, right, where we renamed from Siam Macro to CP Extra. We are part of the larger conglomerate of the CP group. Internally, CP Extra has Macro, Thailand, Cambodia, Myanmar. Lot is Macro, but the Indian version of Macro. Lotus, Thailand, Malaysia, food services, plus, a few more companies. I work for Macro. So whatever I talk is not the other companies I don't know about. So it's totally relevant to Macro only. Second point, a bit of bragging. We're an online application, Macro Pro. We're the largest e-commerce platform in Thailand today, ranked by Euromonitor. Combined with Lotus, a sister company, we do close to 40-50 billion in GMV. Aspiration in the next 4 or 5 years is to be more online driven. You might not see more stores, but we aim to compete with the regional players. So, back to supply chain. Macro runs a very complex supply chain. If you see the blue dots, think of it as the stores throughout the country. Red dots are probably the warehouse and the DC, right? Distribution to both the stores and the DC have very various ways, right? You have suppliers delivering to the stores, you have suppliers delivering to the DC, you have cross-dock at the DC, comes into the DC, goes out. You also have customers' orders being delivered to the DC. In the DC, we do stocking, we do production. Production is, for example, we take 100 kgs of meat, convert them into 1 kg, 100 items. We do transfers across DC. We do intercompany transfer. Internally, for example, if you were to transfer items from Macro to Lotus, right? These two are still two different.
How many DC and store do we have right now? In rough?
Is that in our investor relation report?
Just to see the complexity.
In Bangkok region, I would say like 4 or 5, and then up countries you have 1, 2 in the north, 1, 2 in the south, and then 1, 2 northeast. Yeah. Okay. So, I have to be careful what I talk. Okay. I think one of the CDC we're building, which both delivers to the DC to the customer is probably one of the biggest PCs in the region itself. That being said, due to this complex supply chain system, we will go into like how we structure things technically, right? I'm not sure of the audience, but it might be a bit like technical, the conversation. But it started out probably 10 years ago, right? Where the systems were, good old ERP, whether it's Oracle, SAP, you all should also have one of them, right? You would have, by 2016, 2018, you'll have a light e-commerce layer. You'll have a financial system, right? Now, I come from banking, right? And transformation in banking is very similar to retail as well. It will always start at the digital layer, right? So same thing for macro. We started at the e-commerce layer, right? If you look in banking, most mobile apps came around 2018 as well, right? SCB, K+, whatever, came around 2018. You'll reach to a point where you have a very good app, but under the hood, you have a lot of mess, right? And in banking, they use a term called hollow out the core, where you reach a point where these core systems don't serve all your needs, right? They become like a spaghetti mess, having a lot of hard to change, very slow. So you end up into, before you decompose them into smaller services that solves the problem, you need a very strong integration layer through APIs, messaging, or whatnot, right? And what we do is same structure. We decided we'll break down our core ERP system, and we'll start building smaller systems focused on one specific area. Some of these areas turns out it's actually very difficult to build, right? Take, for example, forecasting, demand planning. We could theoretically build it, right? All of them, we could build it. But how long would it take? If we build planning ourselves, replenishment ourselves, maybe we'll put 50 engineers for 4 years or 5 years, and we'll get there, right? So there are some areas where we have to make like strategic decision of like we choose to buy instead, and give us room to focus on other areas. So in our architecture, we like, for example, demand planning, space planning, replenishment. We chose the buy option, and after evaluating multiple partners, vendors, we decided to go with like RELX. So how did it actually start? Initially, let me try to recall, 2020 or probably beyond that, right? All our planning logic, replenishment was inside our ERP system. It worked, but we had very low stock availability. We would have stock outage. We had low amount of auto replenishment, right? So we tried, several solutions, and one of the things we kickstart with RELX was demand planning, like to forecast forward-looking sales. Initially, we would compare the results with RELX and our system, right? And we put the best or whatever it works. It reached to a point where it worked pretty well. We would have high number of stock availability, 98+%. I purposely did not put it aside. We also increased our auto replenishment capability quite a lot. But there was still something missing, right? We could never get auto replenishment to work for fresh items. Fresh has a lot of constraint, right? You have multiple suppliers, you have minimum order, you have various truck capacity, you have irregular ordering pattern, right? So then we moved to a model where we already use demand planning. We extend to add on auto replenishment to increase availability. Today our availability is quite high. I think we are 98% plus across all category. Auto replenishment is getting there. I'm not saying we are right there yet, but the aspiration to the company is we don't want people to spend time in ordering, right? That is we just want the system to think, what should be the order, and like the way I sell it to the company is AI, right? AI under the hood. Just trust that the AI will work, and you focus your job on your day-to-day stuff. Looking back, would we have done both together? Probably, right? It would have worked, but it also depends on your organization, whether you're able to take up that many change at the same time. And this is why rolling out these systems, technically it's very simple. Like, if you look from a technical integration, you're sending across data across two systems. But one thing I did not talk about was space management, right? Where you design the layout of the store. When it came to rolling it out in the store, it was very hard. In our stores, the store manager, we call them tauke, right? They have the power to do anything, right? Suddenly one fine day you come to them and say, like, from now on, you cannot change the layout of the store. This system is going to give you a layout, you have to follow it. Do you think people will follow it? Nobody will follow it, right? That's why it comes back to initially how you build trust in the system, right? Auto replenishment. We would look at data and see that people were not using it. They were doing manual ordering, right? And when we ask buyers, store managers, why do you do manual ordering? You would get weird answer like, เราไม่เชื่อในระบบ เชื่อ believe, right? Like, this is not like faith or something. Right? This is a system, right? So when you roll out these kind of systems, you might think of the technical challenges, but what we see is how do you actually convince people that these systems actually are going to make your life easier, right? Where their KPIs are actually dependent on sales. And that's it from me. I'll leave to the floor for questions.
Thank you, Simon. We appreciate you sharing your insights with us. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for Simon?
Don't ask me.
I have a question, say, on AI, just in general. Earlier this year, at the beginning of the year, the NRF conference in New York was held, and everywhere you looked, on every single stand, every paper bag, every leaflet, it was AI. There were a couple of supply chain events in the last couple of months, and I was speaking to some of the CEOs that attended, and they said, all the stage, the discussions on stage, the presentations, it was all AI this, AI that, but there was never any real discussion about how to apply it in the business, and is there a strategy to how to use AI, what does that actually mean? Some people say, well, eventually I'll just replace all my planners with AI, and my staff will go from 20 to 1 or something like that. What are your thoughts around how to utilize AI in the business, and then how to expand across the business with the power, utilizing the power of AI?
Okay. See, I graduated computer science. AI is very broad. You have to read the first chapter of AI. It's literally if then else statement, right? Machine learning, it's also AI. Today, when you say AI, people think generative AI, right? Generative AI is only like one form of AI. I'll go back to the slide book. But think about demand planning. Demand planning, while if somebody from Relics can disclose the algorithm, right? Under the hood, you can make out that it's using some form of machine learning algorithm to predict your forecasted sales, right? Auto replenishment, while whether you classify dynamic programming as AI or not, it is still some form of these kind of concepts still will be in AI technology. When we presented internally for these projects, we classified all of this as AI-driven project. Yes, they are not internally developed by ourselves, but it is how the organization is using AI for sales and for forecasting.
One more question. As businesses around the world are moving from on-prem into the cloud, there's a lot of hesitation and nervousness around many retailers and companies, manufacturers, etc., as they're being pushed by their vendors and technical suppliers to do that. And then, of course, their concern is data security. You know, is my data secure? There's so many stories in the news of data breaches and people's personal information leaking, etc., etc. How do you assure the organization that moving to the cloud is the safe way to go and maybe the only way to go for the future?
I've seen more security issues on premise than I have seen like in the cloud, like throughout my career. So like when people say the cloud is not secure, it's like a myth, right? It's no longer true. Scan all your companies, right? You will find more, even internally in CPX, right? We find more security issues on our on-premise stuff than we actually find in the cloud.
Anybody? Anything else? Sunny? Thank you very much, Sunny. Appreciate it very much.
I had a question on obviously you're going to be a bit more digital. How do you make sure that your staff are ready to adopt it? And you talk about change management, the belief that they just don't believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
But once they believe in it, are they still mentally and are they capable of doing it and adopting and learning fast enough?
Yeah. And how long does it take? Actually, same question.
It takes extra effort, right? Like, let's go on forecasting replenishment. The only way we could sell the organization to buyer to move to this was renewing, actually. She built a dashboard showing 3 days availability for auto replenish versus manual, right? And when we would have conversation like, oh, we want to do manual, but you're doing a worse job than the system is doing, right? And it would end up with these one-on-ones with almost every buyer. Like, look at the result, right? Look at how much sales loss you're doing, right? If you could just use the system, you will achieve your KPI. Is this additional work? It is additional work, right? Okay.
I have a follow-up question. So you're talking about the store ops and store managers doing the replenishment and the DC managers. What about the category managers doing trying to forecast the right volumes correctly as well? Your merchandising team.
No, this is the merchandising team. Merchandising team. So we try not to let store ops do ordering, except they would do for maybe like bulk ordering, right? Which we would eventually want to get through there, but right now we cannot do bulk ordering automated yet. How long does it take? Depends on like areas, right? I'll divert a bit to another topic, but something to do with suppliers itself, right? We've been trying to automate invoice, like suppliers send us digital invoice. Initially, we started like, when somebody was saying how do you collaborate with the supplier, right? We used to get invoice, we would key in. We said, okay, we won't key in anymore. We'll build a web portal, let the suppliers key in, right? Supplier said, we're not going to key in, right? You're just throwing your work to us, right? And countless conversations with each suppliers led us to a journey of like, what the suppliers wanted was, you connect to our ERP system, right? You connect to eTax, take the invoice from them. And that program, like, is 1 year plus before we reached like 50% automated like invoice. It depends across each area, right? And you only do this by the entire you have a face, right? Jai Chao, Jai Lao, right?
Rod, time for one more
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
I'm really curious of your opinion of what Rod said before about a lot of people, employees, and it can be anywhere from a store employee on up to a category manager, on up to a general merchandise manager. They're worried about what Rod said. You're going to take 20, 100, 500 of my people, and you're going to boil it down to one because AI is going to take over the world. How do you deal with that? Do you have those concerns? Are people concerned about that when you're trying to sell them on the concept of AI?
Okay. There will have to be some, drastic change, right? Unfortunately, Fortunately, it's not my work to retrain people, but yes, some areas like data entry people, we are starting to, like, one of the areas where we've automated a lot is how price and promotion changes, right? Before it was people uploading Excel file. But today, what we try to retrain these people is our pricing strategy is so complex that if you see an item and a price, you will not be able to say why this item is this price. You need to query the database, look at different configuration to be able to say this item is this price because it has been aging. We are trying to train people to have these analysis skills instead of people being uploading skills. This is one of the areas where we're doing. I feel there'll always be work, right? And so I don't think so we'll get to a point where we can suddenly like shrink the workforce and have nothing for people to do.
So you're helping your employees understand you're not trying to get rid of them, you're just trying to help them do things differently.
Yes, and they also have to be willing to learn to do new things, and that is actually the hard part of like what you used to do for 4 years now needs to change. But we're not going to like ask people to move for something.
Maybe to add to that, I think how we advise our customers quite often is that I'm sure many can relate that a lot of time is spent on manual ordering, just fixing things that were broken a day before or a week before. So you're actually shifting the focus on giving the system better input and also looking forward. So you're actually not fixing issues that happened yesterday, you're fixing issues that the system highlights potentially tomorrow or next week. So it actually might not, yes, if you want to be more efficient, you can, but most of our customers actually don't shrink the workforce. They refocus, like you said, on proactive, value-adding tasks rather than fixing the past. And that's what we try and emphasize with our customers.
And I think this is also about AI adoption, right? We see when a system makes mistakes, people will just say like, the system is broken. Like, we're not going to use it anymore, right? And what we have to try, like, think of AI like a baby, right? It makes mistakes, you have to correct it. And I'm not saying it works, but this is what we try to sell the story of like, as long as you keep telling it what's wrong, things will get better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think it was a very interesting point on AI. It's probably one of the big misconceptions is that AI is one thing. AI really isn't one thing. And you don't need to have wait until everything is right before you start. So if you think about demand forecasting, we use, for example, Bayesian regression. If you think about capacity smoothing, we use a different kind of AI application there. If you think about slow-moving items, you again have a different application of AI. If you think about safety stock optimization, you again use a different application of AI. It's not just one thing, it's specialized capabilities to solve specific business problems. I think that's the way to think about AI. It's not one thing, it's solutions for business problems, one by one. I see I'm not going to put anyone on the spot. I see some of our customers here who also know this very well. So, but anyway, I think that's one of the key takeaways from this is you don't need to wait until everything is perfect. You can start with different forms of AI now. Okay, on to the next, final customer story today. And I apologize for my Thai pronunciation, but I would like to welcome Chief Supply Chain Officer from Du Home, Anawat Choksere Suwan. Yes. Thank you very much.
So, Sawadee good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Lelex and Infosys, that inviting me for this event. So, first of all, I would like to introduce my company to you guys. Maybe some of you may know Du Home, but I believe that many of you may not know Du Home. Who's Du Home? What Du Home doing? So actually, Du Home is a construction and DIY retail, but not actually retail. We sell retail and wholesaling. We start the company for 41 years old. We operated start from the two founders in Ubon Ratchathani. We actually come from the up country from the Thailand, and then think the company and their families do the business quite, how to say, with the entrepreneurship mindset. Then they bring the company into the stock market in 2019, right? So now we have more money to expand our stock. Now the job of supply chain is more complex than before. So far, Do Home, we have many kind of sales channel, 24 branches of the high format. We call XL formats, which is offer you various kind of the construction and DIY products. And we also have 15 branch of the Do Home to Go, which is more convenient for you guys to shop around. It's located around outskirts of Bangkok. And also we have the e-commerce. Most of the transactions still rely on the platform like Lazada, Shopee, but we want to turn around our sales to be for the mobile app and the websites. That's gonna happen this year. And also we have the telesale, sales team. We have sales team go to the B2B market, B2B customer. We sell, in the Thailand, right? We have the big store, modern trade for the construction. And if you go to the up country, you will see the small format of the construction shop.
How many percent of online?
Online very few, we still like less than 10% of our sales. So we wanted to boot it up for even more. Start with the platform, they charge us quite expensive commission. Everyone knows that. So we want to split ourselves, do more for the online. I just start the work with Do Home last year, so 1 year. So, right, thank you. And besides, we have this one, we have call center, have the telesale, and the product. Besides product, we also sell the service as well. We call Nai Chang. And if you have any problem with your urgent, you call Nai Chang 1746. Call Nai Chang, you get the team fix your thing at your house. Okay, for the Do Home, what is our concept is completed assortment, competitive price and good products. If you have a chance to visit our store, you will be amazed with the various kind of product we have. We have the electrical, the appliance, the tools, everything that you want it to be except the fish and pork that you can buy from Macro. Okay, so all about the thing about the decoration, I think we offer all kind of range, you can see here. And also the service from Nai Chang as well. So talk a little bit about not just product we sell the service, right? The Nai Chang service can offer you, since you start from the ground, you can build your house or anything that about the building. Nai Chang, we can have a service for you guys. And this is the location of the large store format. Because we start our business in the Isan, so we have in Ubon Ratchathani, Surin, Buriram, Khon Kaen, Korat, Udon Thani. That are the kind of original store, which is generate a lot of sales from there. And then we expand more to Bangkok and the central area in Langsit. If like in Langsit, Bangpun, something like that, and also 2 stores in the south, Surat Thani and Hat Yai, 2 stores in the north, Chiang Rai and Chiang Mai. That's all about. So look at this. Now the supply chain job become more busier because we expand more store, and each store we have various of product inside. We are dealing of more than 100,000 SKU per store. Even though we have just 24, 25 stores this year, but in each store still have a lot of long tail that we need to deal with. And also for the Do Home to Go, we have 15 Do Home to Go, and we aim to expand more and more all around. Bangkok and the upcountry. So far, if you visit here, it's more about outskirts of the Bangkok, where we put the store in the community that people can access easily. And now come to my job. It's about the inventory management. And why I come to the event today, because of trouble of the inventory management. Different from Macro dealing with the short shelf life product, that is enough for you guys. But I'm dealing with the long tail product, with the slow moving products. Look at the day on hand that we are holding more than 170 days each year. And that consumes a lot of money. Our CFO always compete me every day when you're gonna reduce the inventory. Because the challenge of inventory in the home is more about the range variety, long tail, slow move, non move. I think some colleagues from the construction or DIY business, you can probably see the same issue like we face. So this is one trouble thing. And an additional thing for the do home, because do home do the mix of the sale channel, retail and wholesaling. We sell online, offline, B2B, telesale. So any unpredicted demand can come to us every time. So this is a thing that we need to deal with. And also construction, vendor, they take some time. When I first start, I asked my team, what is the lead time for our vendor? 15 or 30 days. I said, what? Is it the local vendor? 15 or 30 days lead time from the vendor, local vendor is abnormal for the retail like Macro or Lotus, but is it normal for this kind of thing, the construction thing? So this to deal with these difficulties. So that's all about why I and my team come here. We need some system that help us dealing with this challenge. So yeah, that's pretty much about the whole company. Oh, you can visit us from many channels. Scan and check it out.
sold do home very well.
So now you call me Kunte. I'll quickly introduce myself. So my name is DJ. I'm based out of Manila, Philippines, but I'm in Bangkok pretty often. I do sales for Relec, so I think I've spoken to a good few of you here. To my left is...
So my name's Sam Caltabiano. Please excuse my voice. So Sam Caltabiano, I am the Managing Director for Logic. We are an implementation partner and we do a lot of the retail implementations for Relec.
So why are you on stage with Do Home today?
Because we're actually helping Do Home implement the Relec solution.
We are in the implementation with Logic and Relec.
Okay, so I guess we can give a little context to the crowd here. So obviously you showed your days of supply. That was one of the reasons I think you decided to talk to me. In terms of deciding to purchase a system, software, it doesn't have to be Relec, any system. I'm sure you tried to fix it by yourself first when you joined Do Home.
Definitely, and for a long time. We tried to fix it by ourselves.
Maybe you can share with the audience kind of like, what was your process when you were like, we need to do it drastically different, not just a little bit, but a big difference?
First of all, let's review what my team doing each day for their day, right? They start their day with reviewing the order proposal, which is mostly the system we have is Excel. So start with Excel, because previously we have just few store and Excel have a capability to do that, and we don't need accurate forecast that much because of the demand in the house is not that difficult. That they stick with that the way they do for a long time. Start the day with review the forecast through the system and then adjust it they think it should be like this, their experience. But when they gone, but then the experienced people left the company, the new ones start, what should be that the way they do in the past.
Yeah.
And then they send out the PO to vendor, and then wait for vendor to deliver the product. But no one talk to the vendor how it's going to be like that. That thing been doing for a while, and then recently, what we make a change? Not happen recently, but it just happened in the past. So far now, they become more adept. They try to be more a good partner. They try to deal with the need the system to help them. They ask for anything that can help them to release their time from that. So the biggest thing is about they're asking for the new system to help with them.
So that's your current process, and historically, what do you want your process to be in the future?
Okay. So the thing is, I need to free my team, to free time for them. They need to be more focused on the planning things, like let the system do the auto replenishment, if you want to say that, do the forecast, do the replenishment, and then get the team more focused on the vendor and customer. Like for the vendor, we need service level from them. Then how we gonna work with them collaboratively, right? So the thing that we talk about is sharing or selling the forecast to them is one way, or do the VMI with them is one way. That would be the thing that I want my team to be focused, and also focus on customer, because you know the trend so far, the trend in the world changed rapidly. So he need to be more agile and react what the customer wants.
So while I have a captive audience in the room today, maybe I'll ask a hard-hitting question. What made you finally decide, let me take a leap of faith with Relax?
How to say? Actually, we did a comparison. So for many choice, definitely one thing.
You didn't tell me. You didn't tell me you had many choices.
The thing is how the system wise, the system is good enough for us, is suitable for us or not. That the thing, and how it's complex for my team to use it or not. I don't want the team to use the system that sophisticated system, but they don't know how to use it. make the system simple enough to get people engaged, and then we can go. And look at the UI of the Relax. It's kind of that is easy enough for people to understand. And importantly, the price is reasonable for the chain.
You heard that here, price reasonable.
Ultimate goal is we want to deliver the availability to going up and stock to going down with the optimum number. That's why.
So for you, you mentioned that one of your biggest struggles is the long tail.
Yes.
Slow move, no move.
Yes.
What do you hope to accomplish with Relax in this particular category? Because I think we can agree the fast mover is a bit easier problem in your vertical.
So two things we need to understand the system. Relax may help us for the one that we never buy before, like the ongoing new product, ongoing demand. We want the system to be optimized, the amount of the purchase that we want to buy each time to replenishment, right? And the leftover so far, the trouble inventory so far. Actually, the Relax have the features or the recommend for the interbrand transfer that help us to rebalance stock. But I want it to do like our regular job. We should do it like 1 or 2 times a year.
Yeah.
And then once it's just a ideal world that we don't want to do the interbrand transfer. We need to do some time to rebalance. There will be some demand in each store that go different. So interbrand transfer still need to do. But the feature from Relax that help us to make a recommend which store that the product should go and with the right amount.
And maybe this will be the important question for the people in the room. This is why we have Sam on stage. How is the project going? So we started in January, we're now in March, almost in April.
So far, so good. Someone asked you.
Well, I didn't pay him to say any of this, okay, I promise.
I think the preparation part is the most important for us, both of us. Relax and Logic give us some time to prepare, to assess our data point before we jump into the implementation period, which is really counting us every minute. So before we go to that period, right, we do some data validation, and I recommend you to do this if you go with the Relax and Logic, because it helps you to aware of what gap that you have before you implement, rather than you go into the implement period and then you found the gap and then you stop the process and then go back and forth, and then project gonna be delayed.
Costs money. Delays money, right?
Cost money, and the feasibility when you propose that, hey, we're gonna get the project up, we're gonna get the system by July, but it delayed, then the benefit that we should get is gonna be delayed as well.
So what Kunte is talking about is that Logic provided a service to Do Home, where, with AI products, this is very cliche. It's true though, garbage in, garbage out, sort of from a data perspective. So Logic went the extra mile to actually sit down, go line by line. Honestly, it's quite boring, this kind of activity, but it can potentially save you a lot of time and money, because you don't want to go into a project, load your data, and you realize, oh, it's breaking the system, or it's not getting the results that you desire. Personally, you'll find I find it surprising. Most customers really hate to do free data assessment because it's, again, time consuming and boring for most people. But in the end, most people say, wow, this was a really good idea. Now we know that we're missing, I don't know, maybe you're missing 1 month of sales for every year. That's quite a big problem. Maybe you're missing the Songkran April season. At least you know about it before the project and you can fix it. Switching gears now to Sam. So Logic has been...
You've done a great job speaking up. So please keep going.
I guess, so Logic is, as you can see on the screen here, a part of Accenture, but Logic's been doing business in Thailand for quite some time now.
Yeah, I think it's now about 13 years, 12 or 13 years that we've been here in Thailand. So we are a global organisation. As DJ pointed out, we've recently been acquired by Accenture, but we still operate as a separate business unit within Accenture. So one of the things that helps us here in Thailand is we have local team, local Thai speakers, which we supplement with skills from the rest of the region throughout Asia Pac. A lot of our supply chain experts that we use on these projects, they've been dealing with inventory management, forecast, replenishment, some of them for 18 years. So these people understand how it actually works. They understand the inventory movement, the value of doing it, and doing it with Relax has been a great opportunity to help organisations to leapfrog and get ahead of everyone else in the market.
And in your experience, you've done loads of heaps of projects here in Thailand. Is there a particular way of doing a project that you found to be particularly effective from a Logic point of view?
From a Relax project?
Well, no, better you talk about our projects, yeah.
Let's talk about the Relax project. We've adopted the Relax implementation approach. So we've taken that, we've made a few tweaks and enhanced it. It is all about working with the retailer. So we're working with that client, it's collaborative, working through that. As DJ mentioned, one of the key things that we want to do is do that data assessment, do that up front. The most important thing that I can tell you about any of the Relax projects is its data. It's about making sure that your data is right. And as you mentioned before, you don't want to stop the project midway to fix a data problem, which just delays what you've promised the business. So you want to do that at the beginning. So it's about working collaboratively with the customer to make sure that we're both on the same page and that we're all working towards the same goal.
All right, with that said, any questions from the floor?
What's the KPI you're looking for to get the improvement? I saw 178 days there. What's the KPI you're looking for?
So this year we expect to go down to 162 days. That one. This is for the effort from Relax some part, because we just the project will implement in July. So another part that we need to work inside from ourselves, from our partner, that to go down, tune down the inventory days.
And you're implementing both forecasting and replenishment together.
Yes.
Anything else?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Kunte.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Pleasure of introducing our next speaker. He's flown here all the way from Finland just for this presentation. He's going to talk about pricing and promotions and how to maximize the value out of those. So, Lauri is here. When are you flying back?
Tomorrow.
He's going to stay here at least for the networking drinks, so I would really encourage everyone to stay and talk to Lauri. But please warmly welcome Lauri Loikkonen, our strategy director from Helsinki.
Thank you, Anni. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's not only because it's 40 degrees warmer here than in Helsinki, but it's actually like I come from headquarters. I'm responsible of our product strategy, pricing, and promotion, and this is a unique event for me to actually get the Asian kind of Asian vibe and Asian understanding of the customer needs and everything to bring back to our product development. We too often, we are a global company, but we too often focus on Europe and USA, but kind of conversations here will give me lots of insights. So I hope that we can continue to chat afterwards. That being said, Onni wanted me to speak about price and promotion, but I want to step up the game a bit, right? I want to speak a little bit about the future, and I think it was mentioned earlier today, like how important it is to have like the consumer view on whatever you do in retail and in CPG, kind of transferring that information through your value chain. And like if we think about consumer centrism, it's not a new thing, right? It has been around for 20 years. I think 20 years ago, we had a solution called consumer-centric merchandising. It wasn't consumer-centric, I can tell you. Like the key metrics, it was space planning solution, and the key things were days of supply and cases on shelf. It's not consumer-centric at all. What is different today when I speak about consumer-centric retail? What is different? That with the help of latest AI tools, we can actually understand consumers better than ever before, and we can actually bring that information all the way to execution through our solutions. So if we think about so it's changed here, but okay, it's looking slow. So when we think about customer mission-driven retail and think about the customers, so every single shopping trip reflects a specific need or mindset. But consumers may be kind of looking for healthier options, or they may be restricted by budget, or they may have something else. But it's kind of before they come to your store, they have this mindset. That mindset is kind of executed in missions. So they don't come there to, in most of the cases, they don't come to just look for different options, but they come there because they want to buy, they want to fulfill some kind of mission. Would that be dinner for tonight? Would that be weekly stock up? Or would that be like some kind of seasonal celebration, like what was it called, the Thai New Year? Songkran, thank you. So people are kind of on a mission, and that's important to kind of understand when we think about the solution and execution. So when we understand why the consumers come to the store in the first place, we can start to think about kind of how with these mission level insights, how retailers can fine tune their promotions, how they can fine tune their pricing, how they can fine tune their assortment or space to best meet the customer needs. So what we have in this area is I call it retail growth management. And if we think about the capability stack here, there is at the bottom, there is foundation level. That's the execution. We are there. And we did acquire a couple of years back, we acquired promotion solution. Since that, we have built price optimization solution. We have our own assortment solution. And testament to those capabilities, what we can do there, and why I can confidently claim that we are on that market and we might be already the best in the market, is that we have tier 1 retailers across the globe, from Europe, from USA, and we have won those from our biggest competitors. Right? Super interesting stuff there. And there's also like two different analyst companies has been appointed as a leader in these specific areas, which is another testament of our capabilities in execution. So if we move higher to tactical decision making, we start to see things like, so let's put it this way. In foundational level, we can execute the strategies retailers have, right? In tactical level, we can improve those strategies. We are already there. We have KVI management, KVI recognition. In fact, we have developed our own method to understand what are the true KVIs. And in one of the cases in Europe that was super interesting, we utilized our methodology to kind of improve their current strategy. It meant that we were able to cut off significantly the number of KVIs they had. What that meant is that actually that retailer, the problem was that they were bleeding margin at the same time when they were seeing expensive. And the reason was that they had too many KVIs in the first place. So when we were able to cut that big list of KVIs, we actually identified that quite a many products you labeled as a KVI are something that are actually margin boosters. So what happened on the first day is that when we executed the new list of KVIs with our pricing solution, they were actually able to gain extra margin from the day one, because they were able to increase quite many prices. That allowed them to actually focus on investing to those true KVIs that matter most to the customer.
And you already defined KVI just so that everyone can understand.
Yes, KVI, that's a key value item. That was a good question on it. Key value item means that those items that are most important to your customers and which kind of build the price, which customers used to kind of perceive the price image of your company. So then final layer, if tactics is to improve your strategy, retail growth management is strategical layer. It's about changing your strategy. So it's about to understand how to meet your customers better. And in that area, we are not I don't count those basic or traditional price optimization or promotional vendors as our competitors. Our competitors in this area, they are McKinsey, they are Boston Consulting Group, they are Bain. We are helping, with help of AI, we are helping our customers to improve their strategical decision making. What is our role to play here? We have built our own RELEX Market Basket Analytics foundational AI layer. So this is illustration of two-dimensional illustration of multi-dimensional problem of understanding each and individual receipt, what has come through the point of sale systems. And if you think about this, so we spoke about about AI a little bit earlier, and that people often see AI as large language models nowadays. So there is an analogy to this world. So if large language models work so that they calculate probabilities that certain words appear next to each other, and then they can aggregate that up to sentences, and then they can aggregate that up to topics. We do pretty much the same thing. We calculate probabilities that certain items are bought together. Okay? Then we aggregate that up, so we can understand why people come to your store. What are the topics they're looking for when they do certain kind of purchases? What we do then is that we cascade that back down. And when we have done that, we have product roles. We understand KPIs, we understand basket starters, what people take first into their basket when they are making their purchases, and we can also understand margin boosters, where you can make your money. So if we think about the layers, how does it manifest in our solutions? So there's strategic consumer insights. That comes from the market basket analytics through the AI, foundational AI layer. Then you do strategic decision making. This is super important. It's like if we can identify missions in local store level, you need to decide which missions you are going to win. Which missions you don't necessarily want to win. It's like often it's said that you cannot win Audi with price, you cannot win Walmart with assortment, and you cannot win Amazon with service. So you need to be quite mindful of what kind of missions you actually want to win, and what is okay to let someone else to win. This way, you can focus all your efforts on the most important missions that are most important missions for your customers. How do you do it? As said, we have different solutions to execute it. And this is the executional layer. We are very good at that. It's assortment. You need to make sure that there is certain assortment what is needed to fulfill those missions. Okay? If you decide it's a dinner for tonight mission that you want to fulfill, and that's the number one mission you want to fulfill. Maybe you can cut some of the assortment in convenience, right? If it's other way around, then maybe you don't need so many of those meat proteins or something, but you focus on convenience sector instead. Promotion. It's super important solution to kind of give the consumers the cue that these are the items I want you to buy. What happens if you like promote, let's say, taco shells? They will buy rest of the basket related to the tacos. So now you promote one item, you increase the price of the rest, perhaps if those are margin boosters, or you keep good margin with those, and you end up selling the total basket, right? Pricing, I have separate example, it's next slide, how to execute pricing in this kind of world. And then we have like keeping it real, I call it keeping it real layer. It's forecasting and replenishment, it's storage. So you have heard good insights from how the FNR works. But this is kind of the layer that when you have done all the hard work to get the consumer to your store, to understand what they want to shop, you have built the assortment, you have created the layouts and what we spoke earlier, like store layouts, you have created space plans, you have created perfect pricing. You need to make sure that those products exist in your store. So this is an example of how we can execute the pricing strategy. Now on the left-hand side, we have different kind of missions ranked per price sensitivity. What does it mean is that on the lower left-hand corner, where there is like routine shop, people are more price sensitive. They care more about price when they pick an item. When it's more emotional, like gifting and treating, for example, people don't care about price. It's it's like there's your anniversary coming and then you have forgot it, so the price is less of the problem. So now when we understand the different product roles like basket openers, KVIs, margin boosters, we can start to create this kind of pricing matrix. We put this in our solution, we create pricing rules based on this one, and if you need to be more competitive on something, if you need to be less competitive on something, you can change the rule and it's going to be executed through your solution, and it's next day it's going to be ready to be implemented in your stores. And of course you have the rest of the basket. There's like making sure that your price families are aligned, so if there is like different flavors of your favorite beverage, you want all of those to be priced the same. And same thing with good, better, best. You want there to be nice, good pricing architecture that feels good for your customers, so that there's enough options for them to buy. And next slide. These are the benefits. This is third-party investigation, not ours, but third party has calculated that if you focus on price optimization, keeping the volume flat, with these methods you can actually achieve huge profit impact. But you can utilize that profit to actually fuel your growth if that's what you want to do. This is kind of giving levers to decision makers to kind of either improve your profit or improve volume or do some kind of mixed approach. And I think by 2030, mission management will be the new normal. And I can already see that most progressive companies in the world, they have got the basics right. They are focusing on revenue and growth. They have KPIs, they have product roles, they have identified those, they are using those for pricing execution, promotional execution. And best companies, they have already introduced missions. And those missions goes through their entire merchandising department. There's, in the future, we are discussing with few of our customers about establishing mission management roles. So if you think about traditional category management, it's siloed. You're responsible of a category, which is kind of built for financial reporting purposes, similar items in the same category. But actually, your customers doesn't shop category, they shop for mission. And there needs to be end-to-end responsibility for each of the mission. And if you establish that kind of mission management role, you are already closer to your customer. Right? And I think final thing what I want to say is that I was in last week, a couple of weeks back, I was in the USA in a conference. And head merchant from Kroger said that I meet my suppliers all the time. All the suppliers tell me how important their product is for a category. No one ever tells me how important their product is for the aisle, or how important their product is for store, or how important their product is for my customer and keeping my customer now and in 6 months' time. And I think that shows the attitude and mindset, how you are actually more customer-centric than ever. Thank you very much.
I was looking at the methodology. Whenever we've done this before, we've had to bring in Bain or BCG or McKinsey to help us with the mission and the segmentation of the strategy. Do we still need to do that with Relex, or are you going to step into that role and tell us it's this is the mission of the shopper, or do we still need to have the external group come in and tell us? How do you see this working?
That's a very good question, and you're right in that. I guess your question is that there's lots of change management involved, and who's going to take care of that?
Yes.
So with
identifying the mission is also part of the goal.
Yes, so with our foundational model, we can identify those missions. We can identify and we start from very granular and we aggregate out. So comparing to those like management consultancies, we have and we can utilize much more data and we have methods to aggregate it. So kind of think about large language models, how they kind of create. If you ask something, they create here later or whatever. Similar way, we can create those customer missions. And we are kind of moving in that direction. I have hired like ex consultants to kind of help us to do to help our customers and us to do part of the change management. But of course, there is for our great partners here, there's like more opportunities than ever kind of to join this journey and kind of help our customers to do the change.
Yeah, I think to kind of summarize, yes, we're not here saying that management consultants are no longer needed in the world. I think that's not what we're saying, but I think what we see is that the customer mission can be systematized. We can utilize AI to come up with that mission, but then still that kind of change management piece and the advisory side of things still exists there. So I don't see RELX going into the kind of, we're not becoming a management consultant or consultant company, but we see that one of the outputs, which is the mission, that is going to be able to be solved by AI. And not going to be, it is already being able to solve.
And that is correct.
Any other questions? If not, then please talk to Laura and ask him questions privately in the networking session.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Lauri!